When the Evertonians needed a hero in the 1970s, Bob Latchford fitted the bill perfectly. A fearless centre-forward with a natural goal-scorer's knack, Latchford famously bagged 30 goals in the 1977-78 season and was a more than worthy recipient of the famous number 9 jersey. He was a full England international and is Everton's second highest post-war scorer. Roger Kenyon came through the Everton youth system to play a big part in the 1970 title success. Filling the boots of Brian LeBone was an awesome task, but Kenyon did it admirably, partnering several central defenders to equally good effect. A true captain, Clements wore the Everton armband with pride and was unfortunate not to lead the team to the 1974-75 championship. He was also the skipper of the Northern Ireland team and even managed the national side while still an Everton player. Combining strength and subtlety, he was an excellent midfield player. Dobson established a new British transfer record when he signed for Everton from Burnley for £300,000 in 1974. An England international, he was a classy and popular performer and was an Everton regular, so it was something of a surprise when he returned to Burnley in 1979. A real bag of tricks, Mackenzie joined Everton from Anderlecht in 1976 and quickly became a crowd favourite with his uniquely entertaining style of play. He was a genuine showman in the 70s and was one of the goal scorers in the 1977 FA Cup semi-final against Liverpool. A powerful, aggressive player, Bruce Rioch was recruited from Derby County in 1976 and instantly tightened up the Everton midfield. Although born in England, he was the captain of Scotland and possessed a ferocious shot. He rejoined Derby in 1978. It's doubtful that a more committed footballer ever represented Everton than Lyons. He played both centre-half and centre-forward with equal effectiveness during his 460-game Blues career. He once readily admitted that he would run through a brick wall for Everton, and he scored some great goals for the club. He left in 1982 to join Sheffield Wednesday. One of the bubbliest characters to ever wear the blue shirt, King was a gifted player who had 2 spells with the club. He first arrived at Goodison from Luton Town in 1976 for a bargain £35,000 and became an instant hit with the supporters. He left in September 1980 to join Queen's Park Rangers, but couldn't stay away and returned in July 1982. One of the classiest defenders to ever pull on an England jersey, Todd was signed by Gordon Lee in 1978. He was totally unflappable and always seemed to have so much time and space on the ball. He was a crowd favourite, and there was widespread disappointment when he left for Birmingham in 1979. A winger with superb close control, the sight of Dave Thomas skipping down the flank with his socks rolled down was a familiar one to Evertonians. He was the chief supplier for Bob Latchford during the 1977-78 season, and he was also a full England international. Bales joined Everton from Blackburn Rovers in July 1979 for £300,000. He was the real joker in the pack, but he was also a quality defender who won England B honours and played a major part in the mid-80s revival. Gary Stevens made his senior debut as an 18-year-old and went on to make nearly 300 appearances for the club in the 1980s. A superb athlete, equipped with blazing pace, he represented England in the 1986 World Cup finals in Mexico and in total gained 26 international caps. When still in his prime, Stevens was sold to Glasgow Rangers for £1.25 million in 1988. Van den Houw joined Everton from Birmingham in 1984 for just £100,000, and his ferocious approach quickly earned him the affection of the Goodison faithful. He scored the goal that clinched the title again at Norwich City in 1987, and despite being born in Belgium, he was a Welsh international. The most successful captain in the history of Everton Football Club, a product of the youth system, Ratcliffe lifted 2 league titles, an FA Cup and a European Cup Winners' Cup during a golden spell for the club. He may only have scored 2 goals for Everton, but one of them was a 40-yarder against Liverpool at Anfield. Merseyside born and bred, Mountfield came to Everton from Tranmere Rovers in 1982. A lifelong Evertonian, he made the number 5 shirt his own and gave the team the added bonus of being a more than useful goal scorer, netting an impressive 10 league goals during the victorious 1984-85 campaign. He eventually left for Aston Villa in 1988. Born in Liverpool, Reid was considered something of a gamble when Howard Kendall signed him from Bolton in 1982, but it turned out to be one of the finest pieces of transfer business in Everton history. Fiery, committed and wonderfully gifted, Reid was a true Everton warrior during the halcyon days of the mid-80s and fully deserved his 1986 World Cup call-up for England. Still a teenager when signed from Burnley in 1983, Trevor Steven flourished to become an England regular. Known as Tricky Trev for his unerring close control, Steven scored in both the semi-final and final of the 1985 European Cup Winners' Cup. And during a glittering career, he won titles in England, France and Scotland. He was another member of the England 1986 World Cup squad. Second only to Dixie Dean in the all-time Everton goals list, Graham Sharp was a striker for the big occasion. It was his goal that opened the scoring in the 1984 FA Cup final, and he followed it up with one of the greatest ever Merseyside derby goals, and one of the three that beat Bayern Munich in the Cup Winners' Cup. A full Scottish international, he served Everton superbly well during an 11-year stay at Goodison. One of the most influential signings Everton ever made, Gray joined the club in November 1983 from Wolves. His personality, bravery and commitment rubbed off on the squad, and Everton conquered heights that were hitherto unimagined. It was a real shock when he was allowed to leave in July 1985 to rejoin Aston Villa. Bracewell signed for Everton from Sunderland in 1984 and had the distinction of making his debut at Wembley against Liverpool in the Charity Shield. He was a midfield player of enormous ability and was a vital cog in the great midfield that helped Everton to glory in 1984-85. One of the few players to have crossed the park, Kevin Sheedy left Liverpool to join Everton in 1982. Sheeds was renowned for his crossing, passing and shooting ability with that wonderful left foot of his. And it was his goal that wrapped up the Cup Winners' Cup triumph in Rotterdam in 1985. Heath was a club record signing when he joined Everton from Stoke City in January 1982 for £700,000. His form and goals were about to earn him an England call-up when he was badly injured during the 1984-85 campaign. But he fought back and was a regular when Everton won the league title again in 1987. He eventually left the Spanish outfit Espanyol in 1988. Mark Higgins looked set to partner Kevin Ratcliffe at the heart of the Everton defence for many years, until a cruel injury curtailed his career. Higgins was the team captain before his injury blow, and he missed out on the glory days of the 1980s. With typical bravery, he fought back to play later for Manchester United, and he's still remembered with huge affection at Goodison. No player in the history of Everton has made more appearances for the club than Neville Southall. The undisputed #1 at Goodison for the best part of 16 years, Southall is the only Everton player to have twice won the FA Cup, in 1984 and 1995. He was the most capped Wales international of all time, he was the Footballer of the Year in 1985, and he was also awarded the MBE for his services to football. Lineker had the tough task of replacing crowd favourite Andy Gray, but his amazing goals record in his one and only season at Everton endeared him to the faithful. He totalled 40 goals in the 1985-86 season, and although he didn't help the team to silverware, he did score in the FA Cup final and earned himself a place in the England World Cup squad. Dave Watson was signed just in time for the 1986-87 championship season. He took Derek Mountfield's place in the team and as such took a bit of time to win the affection of the fans. But his wholehearted approach eventually earned him legendary status, and he skippered the team to FA Cup glory in 1995. There were many raised eyebrows when Howard Kendall recruited Paul Power from Manchester City. Power had been at Main Road all his career, but he proved one of the Everton buys of the 80s, turning in consistent performances week in, week out, and winning a championship medal in his first season. Ian Snowden was an instant crowd favourite at Goodison when he turned down Liverpool to sign for Everton in 1987. Yorkshire born and bred, he was a tough tackling player with an abundance of skill to match, and later in his Everton career he made a highly successful switch from midfield to right back. A much valued squad member in the glorious 1984-85 campaign, former Liverpool reserve player Harper came into his own in the 1986-87 title-winning season when he played a huge part. A talented footballer who could adapt and play virtually anywhere on the park, he enjoyed 2 separate spells at Everton. Tony Cottee cost a club record when he joined Everton from West Ham in the summer of 1988, but he started to repay the fee straight away with a hat-trick on his debut. As sharp as a pin inside the penalty area, he was a natural goal scorer and ended his Blues career just 1 goal short of a century. Very much the thinking man's footballer, Nevin was a unique character who cost £900,000 when Colin Harvey signed him for Everton from Chelsea in 1988. A full Scottish international, Nevin had dazzling skills and was a fine wide player. Scottish international Stuart McCaw did a fine job in the centre of midfield after joining Everton from Bradford City. McCaw was a much sought-after player when Colin Harvey signed him in the summer of 1988, and he scored twice at Wembley in the 1989 FA Cup final, only to finish on the losing side.